I would even, I don't know if you're implying this or saying this, but I'll go as far as to say, I think they're better than the old Downey,
Maybe I should go over
in my opinion.
I agree.
I mean, To Hell with the Devil is classic, and
For sure.
Yellow and Black Attack, and all that stuff's classic. But the new artwork is just at a whole different level.
And it
It's
speaks to
phenomenal.
my comic book love, that I love a visual that tells a story, and especially with Goddamn Evil, that tells a story.
Yeah.
And it is an awesome, awesome
Yeah.
cover. So of all the covers, what would you go back and, if you could go back and fix?
Can we pick from the new as well, or just the old?
This is just not specific, so any of them.
Okay. Rob?
Okay, well, Yellow and Black Attack, the cover was supposed to actually be a little different. It was, you saw the missiles going towards the planet, but on the back of the record, my idea was to have the planet striped on the back. And somehow it got switched to the front with a picture on the back. So I always kind of wanted it that way, but it is what it is now.
On Soldiers Under Command, I'd pick that, and I would say, if I could change something, I would change, I'd make it us holding real guns instead of pellet guns.
Oh, so they're all pellet guns.
Yeah, we bought toy guns in Tokyo that looked like real guns.
Well, I don't know if I can top those, but I mean, I have to say, hands down, I just was not happy with the cover of Second Coming. I would redo that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
It's
know.
because he never wears a tie.
Well, no, I mean, I just thought we all looked like we just woke up. That was kind of strange, but anyway, that's me.
So Terry, what about you? If you could go back in any of them, what
I
would
would
you change?
change all of them and put my picture on.
Well, if you asked the question in 1985, you might have been able to.
Isn't he great?
Now, the only problem is, if that was the case, and your picture on every cover, everybody would think it was a Whitesnake album.
I could have dyed my hair.
So this came from, oh boy, let me get the cheaters on again. This came from Austin. Now Austin asked this question, but I'm gonna put a little spin on it. What was the favorite band that you've ever toured with? Who was a band that you just had a blast touring with?
Oh man, we had a blast touring with TNT and Loudness. Really, that was a special tour. We had a great time touring with White Lion. It was pranks on each other, and it got worse and worse each night, and then eventually we called a truce and said, all right, no more, because it was getting really bad. But man, we had a fun time touring with those guys. I think we've had a good time touring with every band we've ever toured with, because we like to bring people in and, get close to people and hang out with them and become friends, Still to this day, Tony's a dear friend of mine, Tony Harnell, And Mike Tramp, we do solo shows together, and we give each other a big hug, and we're still buddies, So every band, really.
You were out with
pretty
Trickster.
much.
Had a good time
Trickster,
with
yeah,
Trickster.
great guys, great
Yeah.
guys.
I've heard, because I've gotten to know Steve Brown really well, and it's always, dude, I loved working with Stryper, and you talk about something else. So, dude, I love Michael Rob-Oz, and it's just non-stop with him with that. But he raved about the time that he spent with you guys.
He's a sweet guy.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole band. We really, there's not one band that I can think of, at least at this moment, that I would say otherwise and say we didn't have a good time with them. Is there? I mean, really?
Yeah, I can't think of
Because that was the question. The question was, what band didn't you like being on tour with? And I don't want to upset anybody.
Well, I mean, really, we've done our own tours basically. So whoever's come on board with us, we've treated like family.
But I will tell you, speaking of those pranks that got out of hand, there was one thing I didn't like. The last night of the White Lion tour in 1989, I I would climb up a pole to get to my drum set. The pole was 12 feet high. They put Vaseline on it. The intro tape was going, I go out, I go to climb, and I slide down and slam my knees into the ground. I broke both my legs.
He's not telling you what we did to White Lion.
No, I poured Dixie cups all
He's
over
leaving
the
that out. Yeah, we would do
I
something
didn't
one
hurt
night,
him, though.
then they would do something one night, and it got worse and worse and worse. Mike Tramp came out in a devil mask, throwing out foreign magazines. We were keying up. Vito would try to solo to a huge crowd in an arena.
I had a
And he
CB
started
radio.
soloing Breaker one night. And I mean, the funniest thing we did though, the funniest thing, I was in tears, I couldn't stop laughing, is we covered the stage with backstage passes. We pulled the backs off so sticky side up, so the stage was all taped.
upside
And when
down.
Mike Tramp went running out, because Mike was kind of a David Lee Roth
Yep.
personality then, and that had that singer, whatever you want to call it, and he went running out like, yeah, I'm Mike Tramp, and then all of a sudden his feet, he's like, I'm trying to kick him like a cat. He's up there trying to, oh my God, I was dying. It was so funny.
So that was about the time that Vito walked away from music and never played again.
Well, I talked to Vito on rare occasion. We have stayed in touch, and he just has no desire to do it. He hurt his hand, had an injury, and he has no desire to do it. And he's successful, businessman, Wall Street, and investment broker, banker, and just living life, man.
I asked Vito one time, well, what would you want to do if you weren't doing music? He said, I'd be a priest. He told me that.
He's not a
But he
priest.
was joking.
I was gonna say, this wasn't even during the break. So this one comes from Scott Unger, and Scott asked a couple questions, but if you weren't in Stryper, which band would be your dream band to be in?
Oh, wow.
I would say, I'll go with, I've said Van Halen in interviews, but and that would be amazing, because I love Van Halen, and the songs, it would be fun to do that. But, I think I've changed that recently, because a lot of people say I sound like him, and I talked to JY, and JY said the singers that they wanted to audition, and that would be Styx, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And they're out there touring every year, doing great. So I would certainly be able to pay the bills,
I would have loved to play drums for Kiss.
Oh,
yeah.
That would have been great.
Great band, great fun.
Awesome.
I mean, that was I think about that, and I mean, most of us are all the same age, but I go back and think about, like, Kiss was the gateway drug for me, the gateway band.
Yeah.
To me, they were just a comic book that happened to play music.
Right.
And for me, it was just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard. Then I discovered the Beatles and kind of went backwards with a lot of this, but I mean, you can't go wrong with Kiss.
You went way backwards once you discovered Stryper.
Oh, yeah.
All the way back.
So, Oz, who are you playing with?
I'd probably like to be in the Dio version of Sabbath.
Yeah.
That would be I feel like I would fit guitar playing. So, big Tony Iommi fan. I love his licks and playing. It influenced me big time on the way I play.
No disrespect to Tony, you're better.
Well, look, he's like, in my opinion, for me, I should
I
not
know,
for everyone else,
this-
he's like the godfather of
Right, but it's what you
metal
bring.
guitar.
But it's what you bring back. He didn't do it, in my opinion. Where you went and how you sound and
But
what.
believe me, there's a lot of influence from his playing. I mean, he's got his own way of playing, and I've learned a lot of his licks note for note, and so some of that comes out of my playing, and you can hear it on some. So I could point it out to you where it sounds like that.
Remember when he came into the dressing room that one time? And
I wasn't there. I didn't see him.
yeah, he walked in one time. I was like, wow. I thought you got to see him.
I met him one time. He was at a Lita Ford concert out in Pomona, California.
I think they were dating.
Yeah. And I shook his hand. I'm like, hey, Tony, what's up? And he goes, oh, hey, how you doing? And I go, my name's Oz. And he goes, oh, he ran.
Wrong eyes.
Something about Oz.
Wrong eyes.
Yeah, I swear, that's what he did.
Now, we all know that Perry is playing in his dream band. But if there was a second dream band, what band would it be?
Firehouse. I would have to say Judas Priest.
Nice. Ian Hill.
I mean, that's a guy. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think
Yeah.
they just plop him on the stage, bolt his feet down. That's it.
Yeah, he doesn't ever move.
That's how he plays too.
Yeah.
It's not dry heat.
He must
Yeah.
have like a really well worked out like waist.
Yeah, he's got quite the hip movement,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
All night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to ask, and it's kind of come from the fact that I've been talking to a lot of people about when we first saw Stryper, the first time we saw him, and it always goes to who was the opening act. And it doesn't matter if it is Connecticut, where I first saw you in 1985, when I was drinking and piercing my ear with a Stryper cross that I bought, not knowing I had to put a stud in there. Came home with blood all over my shoulder, and my mother woke up freaking out, going, I thought this was a Christian band. But she's completely over that and still loves you guys and loves everything that you've done. But anybody I talk to, they always talk about the opening act. So who did you guys see Stryper? Who opened for Stryper the first time you saw him? Hurricane. Everybody has said Hurricane. So what was the relationship between Stryper and Hurricane?
Basically, they were a local band that was suggested to open for us.
They were on a name for
They weren't originally when they first opened for us, but then they signed to Enigma Records, and they were label mates of ours. But you know, we became friends with them, man. I mean, Robert Sarzo is Rudy's brother, guitar player, of course, and I'm trying to think of the bass player's name.
It was Carlos' brother.
Tony. He was the bass player, and you know, Kelly, who now sings for Foreigner. Just great guys, and a great band. We always loved playing with them because it was a perfect fit for us. You know, musically we were very similar, and they were into vocals, had a good singer and good guitar stuff going on, just had a good sound, and it worked out.
And I remember not knowing anything about them except that it was, the two dudes brothers from Quiet Riot are in this band, and that's all I looked at. And then it took me, I think Kelly was probably a Foreigner for about 10, 15 years before I realized that
He's
was
been with them
him.
for a while.
So not a bad gig.
No, he's been with them for quite a while. He's great. He's perfect for that because he sounds pretty similar to Lou.
He does.
In his prime, and you know, he's very consistent. You know, he still has his voice and does the job, does a great job at it, and what a singer.
So a question here that I lost, it's in here somewhere. If you could pick a song that is not in the Stryper set and bring it into the set, what song would it be?
Oh man, gosh. That's a tough
That's
one,
a
but,
tough
but one we could think about here. There are some songs that are more difficult to pull off that I wish we would do. I'm trying to think of one of those songs though.
It's a Stryper song.
Yes.
That we don't.
Yep.
Well, songs like vocally that are a challenge.
Rock the hell out of you.
Well, yeah, that's a real challenge.
I'm a Believe.
Believe, yes. Some of the stuff from Against the Law vocally, I was really pushing the boundaries. So a lot of that stuff's hard to pull off live, especially now. But more recent songs, you know, songs like Sympathy. That's probably one of the most popular Stryper songs, at least from people I talk to. Huge numbers on YouTube, great song. As a matter of fact, I sent the album to Dave Mustaine before it came out, and he emailed me and said, that's the best song on the album, by far. I thought that was pretty cool coming from Dave. And but it's a challenge to sing, because it's up in this register that's very hard to pull off live. So we don't play that song. I don't think we've ever played it, but I would love to. Water into Wine. Mike always requests that.
I do. But what's hard, tricky for that vocally?
Well, it's the vocal range again. When you get into the choruses, it's really up there. Another song is
Yeah,
Pride,
for sure.
Gritty Pride
Yeah,
up there.
yeah,
It's
that
just,
is.
it's a real workout and very, almost impossible to pull off, especially when you're touring for 3 months, for 2 months on a bus, night after night. You know, so it's like, why do we record these songs and write them? I don't know, you know? But we do, and then I always pay for it in the end, and I just don't know how to stop doing that, because when I write a song, I just write it in what comes out at the moment, and then later I realize, dang, this is in a really high range, you know? I don't think about that initially.
There's a lot of singers from that era that are now having